And you too, Frank, you're starting to know everybody since you're in the ring and you've seen the matches. So why don't we just go ahead and start talking about this whole thing? So, Jeremy, you start this off. What's your pick between Brandon Bright and Bobby Sharp?
Well, I won't give my pick until it's actually match time, because it's not about what you've done. It's about what you do on that night. Plus, as a commentator, I try to stay as unbiased as possible. But I'll give you my thoughts on the match, because I know both of these gentlemen. Now, it's interesting because Bobby Sharp, I was on a tour with him back in 2013 out in the Maritimes for Emile Dupree. We wrestled. We were on a tour for 30 days. Didn't really get to do much. But then on the next tour, it was a 21-day tour, I think, and we wrestled every night on that tour. So I've been in the ring with him a lot. But you can't just assume that somebody 10 years ago is the same wrestler they are now. There's a lot of room for people to get better, a lot of room for people to maybe get worse. So with Bobby, I know he's coming off of 2 severe, almost career-ending injuries. So his story is incredible. He had hip replacement, which is really an unfortunate thing for a guy who's a good amount of years younger than me to have had. And then he had an injury to his, I believe, his Achilles tendon not too long after. So the name, the Lion Warrior, it's not just a tagline. I mean, that's really what he lives by, because to come back from that, you have to be a warrior and you have to have the heart of a lion. So I know Bobby very well. Brandon Bright, the King, I met him recently in Saskatchewan. And he's a lot like me. Like, he loves the business. He said something to me after the first round of Wrestling Academy, and he was someone who came to me for advice. I gave him the advice, and he took it. And I think he shined like a star in the 6-man tag where he advanced. And he said to me, man, if I don't have professional wrestling in my life, I don't have anything. And I can relate to that, because, I have a tremendous love for this business. So it's a case where I think either person who advances, it's going to be somebody who's passionate about the wrestling business, somebody who is going to go down to Atlanta, is going to do the work, and wants to make the most of this opportunity. Again, just breaking it down on a more technical aspect, I think that Bobby has the huge experience advantage, but Brandon, he's a great athlete in there, and he has a lot of the tools too. So this is going to be one of the better matches on the card. 2 guys that I like a lot, and personally, I'm not going to feel any disappointment regardless of who advances, because it's going to be somebody who loves this business.
Well, Jeremy, I got to tell you, Frank, if you permit myself, I'd like to give my opinion too. There's some things that I want to bring up a few things about these 2 guys. I didn't know either one of them before the competition start this year. So, but I met them each one time now in Montreal for the quarterfinals each time, and I got to tell you that. Bobby Sharp, what a great, nice person. He's and his girlfriend that's in the competition too. There, Kat Von Ease. It's his wife actually that's in this competition. I didn't know that. Oh wow. Yeah. It's his wife, and so I love Bobby Sharp's attitude. He's always there. I ask him for a promo. I ask him for something. He's right on the ball, and he even, it's funny, and there's so many things I could say about Bobby Sharp that really turns me on as far as being a wrestling fan, and just looking at him perform. And the last match he had at the quarterfinals against Sean Moore was absolutely a masterpiece, because he was the last match of the evening. He had to carry the whole load and finish after everybody saw everything. He had to come and do better, which, him and Sean Moore did tremendously. To the point that my brother Raymond, who was judge, he chose both of them. He made them both back. So that was just amazing. And then you got Brandon Bright there, who, I didn't know him at all either. He came up to meet me at the quarterfinals, and what a nice person in that. And it's so funny because just about a week ago, he sent me an email, a messenger, and he said, Jacques, he says, is there any advice you could give me, like to help me move on? Is there something you'd like? And I said, well, Brendan, I said, I don't know you very much, and to be honest with you, I didn't pick you in the quarterfinals either. It was QT Marshall who picked you. You weren't even one of my picks, because it was a 6-man. I didn't have time to see a lot of him, and there was Magnum. What was his name?
Magnum McLaren.
Magnum McLaren, that I had an eye on him, because he's like a Ric Flair, Jericho, all mixed together. And he didn't pass, so QT went with Brendan. So after that, then I start, after his elimination, after he passed on the 7th of May, I start studying a little bit, Brendan Bright. I went to see a few things of him, and when he asked me for the advice, it's so funny because he said, I ask all the guys for a promo, like a minute promo to put some hype on the show, and stuff like that. And Brendan Bright sent me an interview, and then right after that, he says, "What do you think, Jacques? What do you think, Jacques?" I says, "Well, I like it. I like it, but there's just one little thing there." And like you said, Jeremy, he's so coachable. Because then I went like this, and I gave him a little piece of advice. He said, "Oh, well, let me do another one. Let me do another one." So he sent me another one, and then he said, "So how do you think, Jacques? What do you think it is?" I said, "Well, that's better." I said, "But now there's one little thing, you didn't mention QT Marshall in there, the Nightmare Factory, and that's important. If you want to get those brownie points, you got to put QT Marshall in there, And then, so he says, "Let me do another one. Let me do another one." So the guy was like, I liked his attitude. Like, I'm gonna do anything I have to, so now, to be honest with you, I don't know him that much as a wrestler. It's going to be amazing, Jeremy. I guess I listened to what you said. I can't wait to see both in the ring. But you know what? They're both first-class guys. They're likable. So whoever passes, I'll be happy and I'll be sad.
Yep.
And you know what? I can't wait to introduce one of them there too as well. But for me, Jeremy was talking a lot about Bobby Sharp, and I looked at a lot of his matches too as well. I didn't know him before Jeremy told me, and even his opponent as well. So it's great to see that wrestlers that you don't know from before, now you're getting to recognize them, and you get to support them. You follow them on social media, you comment on their pictures, and you watch their matches. It goes a long way. And you know what? It's thanks to Lutte Academie. So hopefully, maybe both of them will be in the final. We don't know, but
no, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
Hey, now it's QT Marshall that's gonna be the judge, not my brother Raymond.
Okay,
and QT Marshall, he has authority. Like he's and that's his school. The Nightmare Factory is his school. So he's gonna go ahead and pick. That's for sure. And I can't wait to see, because we all got to remember one thing. QT Marshall's a funny kind of guy, So we all gotta wait and see, because we so many times I picked somebody, I thought I had him, and QT Marshall surprised me enough for me to go in the commentary and saying, "Holy shit!" Like, holy shit.
That's a competition for you right there. You just never know who is going to advance. QT knows who's going to advance. It's all up to him. So we're gonna have to wait and see August 20th.